Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. Okay, I have some more news for you out of Africa. Now, this one isn't as great as the other news that I shared, okay? Whenever you're giving up something to a foreign power or foreign nation, is never good news. Now, I know some will argue and say, well, at least they're doing this, at least they're doing that, because I've seen where some people, even so-called black people, believe that it's great that China is doing what it's doing in Africa. What they don't realize is if it's not benefiting the people of Africa, then how great can it be? Okay, if the majority of what you're doing is to benefit people outside of Africa, how is that great for Africa? Well, anyway, in this story, it says that Somalia gives up its fishing rights to China. And so I have another article that I'm going to be reading for you here. I'm telling you, family, it's another takeover, just a different face. Okay, just a different face. And I understand that sometimes hard times causes these things where people are like, okay, well, this isn't happening, that isn't happening. And so they feel forced into a lot of these situations. But anyway, let me go ahead and read this article to you because, you know, it is what it is. It's happening for a reason. And sometimes we just don't like it, but it is happening. And so it says, at a time when local fishermen in Somalia are struggling to compete with foreign vessels that are depleting fishing stocks. Foreign vessels depleting fishing stocks. They're taking the fish out. They're overfishing the waters. Okay. I remember one time, I'll break away from the article real quick. I remember one time when we were living in Michigan, my husband and I were fishing, and there were some white guys fishing too. And so my husband kept getting all these scores, yanking all the fish out, right? Now, keep in mind, we're two people and we're fishing from shore. Okay, we don't have no nets. We ain't pulling out hundreds of fish. We were just pulling out, I would say, maybe dozens of fish. And you know how they say there's plenty of fish in the sea, but apparently to this white man, even seeing us pulling out dozens was too much for him. And so he felt the need to say to us, well, man, you guys are going to take all of the fish out of here. Save some for somebody else. You see how they think? You see how these people think? If we are getting anything, it's too much for them. Anyway, let me get back to the article. I just had to say that because it came to mind as I saw that foreigners are depleting the fish stocks in Somalia. Okay, since assuming power last year, this is the first time the Somali President Mohamed Abdullahi Farmajo, and I know I'm probably not pronouncing these names right, family, so just get past that, has given fishing rights to foreigners. Under the new development, the China Overseas Fisheries Association, which represents 150 companies, will be allowed to fish for tuna in Somali waters. The country's fisheries ministry is hopeful that the move will ensure the resources are exploited legally. Exploitation of any kind, I don't care if it is legal, is still, in my opinion, not good for the people of Africa. So, do you think that they're going to get these fish out of the water and just start passing it out or selling it in Africa? You can best believe that it's going to make its way back to China. Over the years, local fishermen and coastal communities in Somalia who survive on fishing have appealed for assistance from the government to keep larger foreign boats out of the country's territorial waters. So the people of Somalia, they were saying, please don't let them in. But the Somali government said, forget you, we're going to let them in. Illegal fishing along the Somali coastlines intensified after the disintegration of Somalia into clan-based fiefdoms offering the overthrow of President Siad Barre in 1991. Foreign ships took advantage of a lack of central government to use prohibited fishing methods like drifts, dynamiting, breaking coral reefs, and destroying the coral habitats where lobsters and other coral fish live. Now, destruction, that's what they do. Kill, steal, and destroy. Now, I remember there was a thing that came out in the news years ago where they were talking about Somali pirates killing people. So when you defend yourself, they start calling you pirates, terrorists, thugs, and all kinds of things. These people were defending their territory, but they were called pirates, and they even did a documentary about it to paint these people in a horrible light. And unfortunately, because most of our people are so into Western culture and whatever they say they believe, they are just so believing and so trusting of what they hear coming across the news that they believed that the Somalians were actually pirates that were killing innocent people. When you present a narrative a certain way, you can get people to believe whatever you want. But when you find out and you listen to the people of Somalia, they actually told the truth of what was happening. So, as you see, people will lie to get their point across. These governments, these countries will lie to make Africa look bad every single time. Now, we understand and we know that some horrible, horrific things are happening on the continent of Africa, but they are happening all around the world. But news is not always fair. Okay, it says the foreign vessels were mostly from India, Yemen, Spain, Japan, and Pakistan, and accrued a lot of revenue from their activities, while the local people suffered in terms of depletion of seafood resources, lack of jobs, and environmental degradation. Since then, the practice has been ongoing, with many of the larger boats not regarding laws governing Somalia fishing season, and others not having a license to operate. So in other words, they're saying, look, we don't regard your laws. Let's see you do something if we come over here and fish out your waters. Let me see you do something about it. You see, no respect for so-called black people whatsoever around this planet. Some buy permits from Somalia officials, but this is usually done under dubious means. In 2009, a Time magazine article highlighted the fact that Somali waters have become a free-for-all fishing site where international fleets illegally collected more than $300 million worth of seafood. Now, that kind of stuff, that's very disturbing to me, family. For those of us who don't live in these areas, we're like, okay, that's not my business. It is our business because these things happen around the planet. And this is why we are not able to get a foothold, because these people break laws on the continent of Africa. But if you jaywalk, they're ready to throw your behind in jail. Whew. About 10 years ago, some local fishermen in the Horn of Africa nation decided to take up arms in hopes of retrieving their waters from the foreign vessels. But in the process, many of these fisher folks turned violent. They became pirates who began attacking and hijacking these outside vessels. See, that's what I was talking about. They called them pirates. No, that is called defending your territory. That is what that is called. But they put a name, pirate, on it, and all of a sudden you're the bad guy for protecting what belongs to you. You see how they spin these narratives? Let some foreign ships come over here to America or any other Western country and do what they were doing to them, to the Somali people. See what happens. America will take up arms and not just destroy vessels, but they will kill those people. And everyone will applaud them and say that they had a right to do it. But you see the double standard? Double standard is not just here in the U.S., it's around the world. Around the world. It says at one point, and listen to this, a lot of hypocrites will say that I'm defending pirates. Listen to what I said. These people were protecting what belonged to them. How the hell is that wrong for them to protect what is theirs when you all do it all the time? At one point, pirate gangs, you hear that? Pirate gangs. I'm surprised they didn't say pirate gang thug terrorist, just to make it even worse. But anyway, at one point, pirate gangs were seizing more than 40 vessels per year and holding hundreds of sailors hostage for ransom. The way I see that, though, they were actually saying, you know what, you all took over $300 million worth of money from us. We're just saying, give us our money back. That's what I see. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong. Okay? But I see them as trying to get some of their money back that was stolen from them. That's what I see. There is at the moment local navies such as the Puntland Maritime Police Force, which patrols the waters off Basaso, and other bodies, but these have not been able to keep the foreign vessels out of the Somali waters. You see what I mean? They bulldog their way in. They're trying to keep them out, but they haven't been able to keep them out. And when the Somali people defend themselves, they call them gang pirates, pirate gangs. But there is a police force trying to keep them out, but they force their way in. Many have attributed this to the fact that many of these outside vessels are larger with improved technology as compared to the local ones, of course. In effect, China getting fishing rights in the fragile state of Somalia has been of grave concern, especially with regards to the plight of local fishermen and stocks. But the fisheries minister, Abdurrahman Ahmed, has assured that all is well. Of course you're going to say all is well, because I'm pretty sure your pockets are being padded. Okay, so that's another story, family. Again, the way I see it, it goes back to what I was saying earlier, is that these people, they bulldog their way in. And this is, for me, I see it as bad news for the Somalia people of Africa. This is just really another robbery that is being justified. And this time it's China. Okay, it doesn't matter. You change the face, it's still the same thing. So they're giving up their fishing rights to China. How is that good news for the people of that region? Tell me what you think in the comment section, family. And with that, I will say shalom. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.